I will strive to develop myself in a positive manner and to avoid anything that would reduce my mental growth or my physical health. I will strive to develop self-discipline in order to bring out the best in myself and others. I will strive to use my martial development constructively and defensively to help myself and others and never be abusive or offensive.
My name is Jim Tsvetkovsky, and I'm the master and owner of Western New York Karate Center here in Buffalo. I opened up my studio March 1st, 1993. I've been here for 21 years as my own business, but I've been in the martial arts for over 40 years. I started in the early 70s. I went to college. I have an engineering degree, but my passion has always been with the martial arts. I was a nuclear engineer for over 7 years, and I gave that up many years ago to do what I love. My first base style is the present style that my school teaches. It's our nucleus, our main style. It's called Isshin-ryu, which is an Okinawan style. Isshin-ryu means one hard way. That's why this particular patch, which resembles, there's a lot of detail and history and tradition behind this particular patch, behind our style.
The orange border stands for the vertical fist, which is the primary trait of Isshin-ryu karate. The figure is half woman and half dragon. Her name is Mizugami. Her left hand is open, the universal symbol of peace. Her right hand is closed, in a fist, the symbol of fire. The dragon in the sky stands for heaven. The tiger on the headdress stands for earth. The dark background stands for darkness. Night symbolizes the unknown.
It goes on the left side of our uniform, over our heart. In other words, everything you do should be with your heart.
Honesty.
Honesty.
Courtesy.
Courtesy.
Integrity.
Integrity.
Self-control.
Self-control.
Perseverance.
Perseverance.
Downward spirit.
Downward spirit.
What is your goal?
Black belt execution.
It's a quest.
Yes.
Okay, great.
My name is Tara Phillips. I've been studying Isshin-ryu karate for about 8 years, but prior to that, I was a dancer for many, many, many years and a dance teacher. My kids wanted to take martial arts, so I brought them here, and watching the classes, to me it felt like going home. The dojo felt to me the way the dance studio was, the camaraderie, the family atmosphere, and watching the kids' classes, I thought, sure, I could do that, Some things were easy in terms of the flexibility and being able to do the kicks, being able to pick up, all the katas. That was easy. Finding strength and power, that was very challenging.
A lot of people, when they go into a slide-up kick, their hands go down. Almost always, they go like this. What you want to try to do is keep your lower body independent of your upper body. You want to be able to keep your hands here. A lot of times, like here, I can actually move here. It doesn't look like it, but I'm really close to kicking range. Even though it doesn't look like my upper body change that much, I'm way in the kicking range. Okay, so what you want to do, that first I'm gonna do a roundhouse here, same side. The idea is to hold their hand and kick.
And most styles, when they punch, they do what's called a twist punch or the corkscrew type of a punch. Okay? Well, our punches are straight up and down, vertical punches. Sometimes we do add just a little bit of a twist to it, but never over. The reason being for that, again, these are more technical differences, is that you have two bones on your arm. Okay? And what happens is that when you twist, your elbow stays stationary, but when you twist, one bone overlaps the other and makes it actually a weaker punch. Okay. Number two is that we don't lock the joints when we punch. Most styles do. Okay, so when we punch, there's always a slight bend. We lock the muscles to leave the punch out to see if we're in a proper form. Okay, but we never lock the joint. That's 100% extension. We don't do that.
To test the techniques forementioned, students must undergo rigorous sparring that enables them to apply such techniques against a live opponent. Fear of hitting and getting hit is not for the weak at heart.
Oh yeah, I got into karate back in 1983. Yeah, my roommate said, "Hey, I'm doing this karate. You should join me." So I did, and I followed that for about 10 years, Shotokan. But then my kid is growing up, and he's kind of on the smaller side, and I thought, I know what it was like for me growing up as a minority. I think I need him to get something, have something under his belt that he can give him some confidence if ever he's confronted in any kind of way. And so I looked around and I found this school, and I was impressed by the master here. And that's why I picked this school. I didn't really have any knowledge of the system at all.
My favorite weapon would be the bow. I like it because it can keep opponents at a distance without them having to get close to you.
One of the main Okinawan weapons is the bow staff, wooden staff. In Okinawan or Japanese, it's referred to as the bow. And normally, a theoretical size bow is the 6-foot staff. Now, in a situation out on the street, whether it's a 4-foot stick or a baseball bat or whatever. But if you know how to handle the bow staff, you can handle a lot of the other similar types of weapons. Now, why did the weapons were part of the Okinawan open hand? Since karate means empty hand, what had happened was a lot of the so-called weapons, guns and so on, they were confiscated, they were taken away when a lot of the warlords took over the villages and the Okinawan islands and all that. The real weapons were taken away from the people.
In the times of feudal lords and the samurai, the development of empty hand techniques were created to help the oppressed fight their oppressors. Takedowns and hand-to-hand combat were vital to fight those who were riding horseback and defend themselves against those who had weapons.
Pull the eye back, and then you pull the head into the chop, and you scoop the groin.
All at the same time.
Well, that's a three-handed combo, okay? It's like, right. So from here, just like, whoosh, it's a quick hit.
Yeah, quick
Poke the eye, and with the thumb, pull the head back.
Into it as you're kicking. Yeah.
Chest, you can hit the groin here. Scoop the knee out. Okay, so it's hook.
Nice.
I guess first is that, even going back to when I was in Shotokan, that was one of the first pieces of feedback I ever got from another from a black belt at that time. I never attained black belt in Shotokan. I was just shy of a first degree brown belt. So I ended my career there as a purple belt after 10 years. It was hardcore, really hard to advance. And but what they said to me is I had lots of kime, lots of spirit. So I think that your spirit, your nature, is what it is. You're sort of endowed with it, I guess, at birth, or maybe very early in those formative years, and people have a calling, and when you respond to it, if you listen to it, there becomes these synergies where it just is natural and it works, and so that's for me, I've always been able to express my spirit, which is sort of intense, or it is definitely.
I really like that it's an art, that it has a history, that it has a background that you can really research and look at, similar to ballet. That's what really, really interests me, as well as the fact that it's mental and physical. That even through injuries and things like that, there was still so much to study and read and think about. It's not like, I want to say sport, where you just do it and you kind of leave it at that. With this, it's so much more than that.
What makes me want to continue in martial arts is the sense of living and self-worth that you get. I like it because it has blended me into being an all-around well and good person. I feel good when I do it. I feel more at peace. I'm less likely to get into trouble. It's a way to curb aggression. It's a way to deal with depression. It's a very good teaching tool, and it's a way where you can kind of break the ice with a lot of people, because you will find out there are a lot of people who want to do martial arts and that enjoy it. And the philosophy behind martial arts and martial artists are always the same. They always want to have a sense of peace and well-being.
The student creed talks about self-discipline. Hey, what that basically means is doing what's right. Hey, when mom and dad tell you to clean up your room, do your chores, do your homework, make sure you do it, don't argue back. Hey, that takes self-discipline, doing what's right. When the teachers tell you to do certain things in school, make sure you do them, right? It's the same thing here.
So did I come here by accident because of my son? Was it some sort of weird thing of fate that just steered me here and through the Yellow Pages to pick an Isshinryu school? I have no idea. But I've stayed with it because I find it to be a very diverse and flexible system that really allows you to, respond appropriately to whatever level of threat you're confronted with, and whether that's one person or multiple ones.
I think it's great for women. I find, especially with the style that we do, I have to really hone in on the techniques to be able to bring power and strength to what we're doing. I think men can often rely on their strength, and we have to rely on technique, when you're smaller. So I think it's great for women, especially learning the self-defense. I think it gives you self-confidence and self-esteem.
Some of my students, that are well-disciplined, and I'm talking about children that are 12, 13, 9-year-old, that are, whether in school, on the playground, or at summer camps, or Boy Scouts, who've been attacked, and these are actual, true stories, where they had to use their self-defense. In some of the situations, they had no choice, and the stuff has worked right to the T with no problem. There's been a couple of situations where other students from other martial arts schools, they have been fooling around with my students and tried to hurt them, and they find themselves on the ground, looking up. And if these students were taught the right way, martial arts, regardless of style, the discipline, the respect, and self-control has always should be there, regardless of age, if the school is teaching their students properly, But the martial arts should only be used for self-defense, not for offense.